what do you say to that girl who doesn't have good knowledge, and they walk around like they don't know how to walk around? I mean, what is the thought process when somebody says, hey, you're amazing, but what do I have to do to be like you?
How simple is that process?
It's not. I mean, I think, like I said, all the ownership is on the person. So there's a lot of resources out there. It's on that person to look for the resources, internalize it, and see if it makes sense to them.
Right.
And other than that, it's the thinking about the awareness in situations. I always believe that female intuition is super, super strong.
Right.
And I always feel like female fighters are so creative and
yes.
And they pick up on things fast. It's just because of the way that our mind connects. We make connections between a bunch of different things.
Well, yeah, I mean, to put it in scientific terms, the female brain can use both sides, the logical and the imaginative sides at the same time. Versus males, we kind of switch between the two. And we're dumb enough that our ego tells us that, oh yeah, we're being logical when we're really being emotional. Versus women know they're being emotional and logical at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's just how the brain breaks down. But going on that tangent, do you think it would be easy, taking back to the time before you learned all this, for you to just say, oh, I'm just going to be more aware? How does that happen? How do you get to a point where you can make that crossover and start internalizing information, or even just looking for information as a woman?
That's hard. I don't know what to answer. I think it has to be like something happened, or I'm sure that as like a fellow female, there's someone that maybe a friend of a friend, someone within the family, a certain experience that was really scary and very close to home. So I think just drawing upon that and making it's like a reality that
Versus,
will give.
It's something that's never going to happen to me.
Exactly, and I don't think it's that hard to empathize too with those sort of situations. So, I mean, drawing upon that, maybe that will provide that person integration to make that jump. I mean, for me, like my friend was, I don't know, she I think was killed. I don't know if she was raped or whatever, but that was part of the inspiration for me to learn this and give it out to other people.
Because you want to make sure that doesn't happen first in order for somebody else to be inspired to learn.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So
it seems that communication and conversation plays a big part of it, because again, so many people walk around, like Rick was saying, a lot of women especially, thinking of other things, not what
they're oblivious to anything.
Oblivious to the actual. It's a possibility. No, it's not. It's not going to happen to me.
Yeah.
It could. You should at least consider it as a reality, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Do you think a lot of that is because there is a lack of communication amongst even females?
There's a huge shame associated with these. I think that's what you're trying to get at, right?
Well, no. I want to get your take on it. Because what is it that's holding that back?
There's a lot of shame associated with these sort of situations where maybe you've been taken advantage of. Maybe it's as terrible as rape or molestation, or maybe someone was trying to rob you. But these very traumatic incidents, it's not really easy to talk about. And so, a lot of the times, we try to hold it in because we don't want to burden anyone else with it. And it's super scary too and traumatic. So I think that even more so, it's so important to share these stories, to normalize these experiences. Not only does it make it, easier for you to connect with other people and release it.
Right. Just to be able to let it go.
Yeah, but also
it's easier to carry when it's multiple people versus just you.
Yeah, but
Do you also, because you had also mentioned shame.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you go to a family member and say, this happened? And then that guilt that you keep. I think that just makes it so much more worse.
Yeah.
Because you're saying it's hard to let it go, and shame is the thing that's the hardest to write.
Yeah.
Whether, obviously it wasn't their fault, but yet they still feel that they had a hand in it.
And maybe they deserved it because of the way they.
Yeah, because we hear stories like that all the time. That the women feel, well, I shouldn't have been there, or why not?
You justify the attack.
Yeah, you're trying
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, and all of it is shame and guilt. And I don't know how the human psyche tries to make it a logical thing, but it's not. Like, it's not that person's fault.
Right.
And yeah, the more that you're able to find a safe space, maybe the first time it didn't work, maybe a family member or a friend couldn't empathize with you. I just urge to keep trying, because there are people. Keep looking. There is a community. There are people. The more that we make awareness, like the whole Me Too movement, right? Like the more awareness we bring onto it, the more we normalize it, and so we can really like try to take out this like
There's a stigma.
Stigma, and really put all of these attackers to it where they're supposed to be.
I've noticed before you get into your thing that with the COVID stuff that's going on, there's been a lot less crime. You don't hear some of these stories about rape happening or anything like that, but it does still happen.
Yeah.
Case in point, that one military girl who was beaten to
Found
death.
dead. Yeah.
Yeah, and they found her dead. So it's not that it really went away; just people are not talking about it, and it's not coming up in the news because you have this COVID thing being more prominent in the news. That you're not seeing these things, but it does still happen.
It's still out there. And the point I wanted to make, and one thing that really like makes me feel even more proud to know you, is the way that you were describing the idea of getting this information out and making it a norm is the way you train yourself and your colleague. You're out there, you're going through scenarios in public, in real time, you're going through the emotional state. You're literally walking what it is you're talking about. You're doing the things that you believe will help other people down the line. And I have to point that out and applaud you for it, because that is amazing.
She's always been one of my favorite students, even over you.
Yeah. I'm just closer and convenient. That's all. I'm the convenient one.
The one thing that I've always admired about you, especially early on, and I have to tell this story just because it really shows you. In your first few days, something had happened. Like you said, you're an introvert. You're very emotional. Somebody was showing you something, and it got to you. You went to the bathroom, you came out, and you were kind of teary-eyed, and we're like, what happened? But after that whole incident, we say, hey, everything's fine, don't worry, da-da-da-da. You came back 100% stronger. Next thing you know, you were not that same scared introvert little girl that we remember when you first came in. All of a sudden now, you're like head up in the air, you're nothing bothers you. You're fighting in tournaments against men. I mean, that's amazing. And then to hear you say, oh yeah, in my head I scenario this whole thing every time I'm walking down the street. It almost sounds like I'm hoping I get mugged or something just so I can do it.
I'm sure that's not what she's thinking.
But that's how it feels, and it sounds like, okay, Wonder Woman in action, and she's like, boom.
Right.
I mean, I could still get, there's always a chance that my colleague won't work.
And that's that ego check.
Yeah, and even now I still have this fear that what I've learned will come out.
Right.
So that's why
And
I
even
do
for
this.
us.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gotten into things where like, oh shoot, I should have did something else or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Just because we are martial artists, because we do train. I mean, I've seen some MMA guys get beat up in a gas station and get knocked out.
Yeah.
And they're like professional fighters on TV. So yeah, that isn't a guarantee. But like Danny is always telling us, at least you know something.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what you not have at least 7%, as opposed to a 0% chance.
Okay. But and that's a good segue, because now we're going to talk about the actual training itself. You know something. Is that something physical, or is that something mental? What's more important?
Mental.
Why? Wow.
No hesitation.
No blink,
like mental. Didn't even blink.
Yeah,
There was nothing.
I mean, I can know all of the movements, but if I'm not in the fighting spirit or willing to defend my life, then none of it matters. So
Wow, that is. Can't get clearer than that, folks.
yeah, so that's why like all of this praise, it doesn't really sink well with me, just because like there's always going to be that moment where I will have to choose if I'm going to fight or not, and there's going to be a possibility that I might not perform. So it makes it really hard for me to.
Completely accept the praise without questioning whether or not.
Yeah, just because I teach rape prevention classes doesn't mean that I'm 100% not going to be possibly attacked, right?
See, and I love the honesty of that,
Yeah.
because we really don't know.
Right.
You know, you don't know what the other person knows. You can't imagine what they may or may not do. It is just something that happens at the spur of the moment, and you will either fight or flight. You know, we always talk about that, and whichever one happens, you just have to go ahead and go, okay, you're going to commit one way or the other, and that's that.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no second try at it.
Ooh, I should have done this.
Yeah. You know, and that's what I was saying. You know, sometimes, I forget. Oh, maybe I should have. Well, it's too late for that.
Yeah, and the most dangerous part is to be in between and not choosing.
Ooh, indecisive about it.
So that's what I fear the most.
Really?
Yeah, being indecisive. Because then automatically.
What have you been doing to help you to beat?
Like that, the training on the street, I think helps with my like anxiety or the adrenaline rush. And then also just seeing where my mind is at, like in terms of confidence and whatnot too.
So self-awareness. Really
A lot of it is
developing that.
self-awareness and making sure that it's like always in constant in the same place.
You know, Danny always talk about, it's great to see when the student gets the bug.
Oh.
You know what I'm telling you? The bug.
That-
When did that happen for you? I want to lighten it up a little bit because I was.
No, we've been slowly moving back to.
Yeah.
Got a little dark.
The bug, I don't remember. I think maybe just because I moved up here by myself and I felt really comfortable with you guys.
Yeah.
And then also at the same time too, I'm learning how to defend myself. Maybe a month or two in. And also the way you guys explain things is very logical. Like it's very compatible with the way I think. So a lot of it.
Break that down for me because I like to hear how the student gets our information, right? That was one of the discussions that we've had in previous college conversations.
How you take things in.
How does the student, you know, what do they do? When I tell you something, what goes on in your head, and how do you understand the stuff that you've been given? So this is a good person to do this with because you got some great ideas.
You have to strike something to feel.
It's like, oh God, I hate you guys.
Yeah.
And then you
Can you repeat that question?
All right, so one of the things that we talk about in college conversation is that it's always for the student and how they understand it. If they don't understand it, then it'll never manifest in physical form, right? So how do you understand a lot of the information that you're getting? Because you're constantly saying that, you know, we break it down a little easy for you, but it still comes out your way.
I mean, the teaching part of it, and this is like maybe, was it the fourth level of understanding?
Yeah.
Fourth level of understanding is understanding the student.
Yeah,
And
being
then-
able to teach it.
Yeah, so you guys tailor your teachings to analogies that fit my lifestyle, which helps it sink in a lot quicker. So a lot of the analogies that you pulled from or leveraged was something related to powerlifting, or you guys analyzed my movements and saw what worked, and then would make those connections with the lessons.
So,
reaches fully out.
and I like you saying this because this is important.
Yeah,
It sounds like we cater to you specifically when we're talking to you.
yeah, exactly. So it makes it very digestible. And then like for me, when I intake that information within that 2 hour, you know,
When your brain is
when
still
my
working.
brain can absorb information. At least for me, I learn visually, and then making that connection with the analogy like helps, and then following up with physical. So
Do you feel that is a much more, I don't know,
efficient.
efficient way
it's
of
super
learning
efficient.
something?
Super, yeah. Especially since you guys break down the movements
this is how you
and
should be-
distill it to its like rawest form. So you're not teaching like, it's not like you're coming out the gate teaching me Sinawali or other drills like for my first lesson.
Yeah, I know. I think you taught you what physics.
Yeah, you guys taught me body mechanics, the clock system.
Right.
Single pieces that like it's almost like the alphabet, right? So you guys teach me the letters,
They're still trying to break that?
and then
How to use the letter.
yeah, like make a word and then maybe a sentence, and then you break down the sentence word to letter, and then from there.
You got all this from us? I'm impressed. Okay.
That was actually a bad. We might steal that one too.
Yeah, so
I love it. It's just like,
it's not like you're telling me to read this paragraph and they don't even know what letters are.
right.
You know, so I guess that's the best analogy I could make.
No,
I love it.
that's
I
beautiful.
thought that was
Yeah.
just
And I think you feel a little reservation because the way you said it and in your mind is probably, oh, that's so simple. It can't be. There has to be more to that.
Yeah.
But no, you're absolutely right, and that's what we strive for. That level of simplicity.
Yeah.
And that's your level of simplicity. That is how you take it and understand it. And that was the perfect answer to the question. That's you.
It was awesome. I'm always surprised and excited by seeing you train with us.
Yes.
Because not only do you bring your own, not only do you just come to the class, but you're focused. I mean, you come in kind of haphazard, you're a little late, whatever else, but when you're there,
Yeah. Once you get
you're
going.
there. I mean, it's like, she doesn't let up on the hard swing, she just comes and comes and comes. Even when it's okay, everybody half power, and she's still like, boom, boom, you're like,
Oh yeah, I've been hit in the head by you. It's fun.
and that's awesome because to you, that's much more important than the actual lesson being given.
Right.
Is that you perform for yourself,
The way
proper
your body
things, and the
moves.
way you're doing the things you're supposed to do. And we do corrections, but even then, right after we give it, it's spot on to whatever it should have been.
Well, she touched on that specifically.
Yeah.
She said the process is that you guys cater. You show me something and visually I get it, but I don't have a connection to my own body. Then we give her an analogy or some sort of
And then she
reference
changes
point,
it and it
then she's
becomes-
like, oh, now I get how I can look that way, not how to copy it. And like she said, she's spot on. Just gave her way of taking information. Like, okay, oh, now I get it. And you see it.
And then
you see
it
You see
right
the
away.
change. You see the
Yeah.
change.